Okay, here's a ratio question for us to try. So a cadet squadron is fundraising to pay for a camping trip. The camping lodge fees include lodging and food are based on three age categories. So there you have the prices for each age category. So children, teenagers, and adults. And we have to figure out how many children, how many teenagers, how many adults, so we can figure out how much money we're going to raise, and then we can figure out how much money we have left to raise. Okay, so this is the information over here that's important. So let's see. The ratio of children to teenagers must be 2 to 3. Okay, let's stop right there. So the ratio, so I wrote them all out here. I wrote children, teenagers, and adults. And I also wrote the total. That's important. You add the total. So the first line tells us 2 to 3. Children to teenagers. Children to teenagers. So that's 2 to 3. So 2 to 3. We don't know how many adults, and we don't know the total. Okay, so we know that's 2 to 3. Okay, what else did he tell us? While the ratio of teenagers to adults must be 6 to 1. So now I have a new row here. I'm going to compare teenagers and adults. So the teenagers to adults, teenagers to adults, teenagers to adults, 6 to 1. That means for every 6 teenagers, we need 1 adult. So if there are 2 adults, we need 12. There's 12 teenagers. Okay, we don't know how many children, and we don't know the total here. Okay, and then it says there are 7 adults going on the trip. So the next row, we have another piece of information, 7 adults. Okay, so if there are 7 adults, then how many teenagers must there be? Well, every adult, I need 6 teenagers. So if I have 7, this should be 42. This should be times 7 times 7. So this should be 42. So there are 42 teenagers. 42 teenagers. And I can fill this out too here. How many children would there be in this scenario here? In this scenario, well, if I double this, I get 6. So let's double this. I should get 4. So this would be 4. So there are 4 in this scenario, like that. And now, I know there are 7 adults. Now I just have to figure out how many children. Well, what do I do? How do I go from this row to this row? How do I go from that row to that row, from here to here? Well, just multiply by 7. Just multiply by 7. Or I can cross multiply. See, that works if you cross multiply. I can do that here too. I can cross multiply. So 4 times 42 divided by 6. Or I can just multiply by 7. 4 times 7 is 28. So there are 28 children. That's it. So now we know how many children, how many adults, and how many teenagers. Okay, we don't even need to know the total. We don't need to know the total. So 28, that's 2 to 3, right? If I reduce this fraction, 28 out of 42, I'll get 2 to 3. Divide by 14, I get 2. Divide by 14, I get 3. Okay, so cross multiplying also works. So this is how much. This here we have what we need to calculate how much funds are being raised. These are the numbers that we need. Okay, so let's see how much we get here. So it's 28 children times $26, and $30 for every teenager. That's 30 times 42, and 7 adults, $40 each, and that gives us a total. Multiply all that out, and there's our total. We get $22.68. Okay, and now we have to add 5%. So what's 5% of this? We gotta add that 5% extra. So just take 5% of that. 5% of that. So 5 divided by 100, that's 0.05 times 22.68, and we have to add $113. So that's how much we need to raise, and we have $1,000 already. So if we already have 1,000, what do we have left to raise? 22.68 plus 113 minus the 1,000 that we already have, and we need this much more to raise. So that is the answer right here.